good. I definitely feel I am a much more tolerant person, and I'm much more open to people and to people's differences. And I can appreciate people's differences more. I'm not maybe... I'm trying to find the right word now. Maybe I just haven't as tunnel visioned as I was before. I realise there's more out there. So that would be a big change, and I do like that change. I do like the fact that I'm just a more open person. I suppose, too, which is nearly the opposite, I have had to become a lot stronger. I have a lot of battles to fight to get my child the services that he needs and the help that he needs, and to try and find the money to do that.
Yes.
So I have to be very firm, and I can get into, mama bear mode very quickly when it needs to be done. So in one way, I have become a much softer person, but in another way, I have become more aggressive.
Yes, of course. Yes. Oh, financially, that was one thing I was going to touch on, because there's two things here, isn't there? You've got one going to part-time work, and the other issue is the cuts that are being introduced by governments all over the world, but ours obviously especially. How has that affected you?
Well, for us at the moment, for me personally, it hasn't affected us yet because my child is in preschool, but I know so many parents that can't get their children into a school, can't get support for their child when they're in school, or are having the existing supports taken away. And children with autism that are able for a mainstream education are not able for it without support.
Yeah,
so the option has been taken away.
And I believe that, I've been speaking to mothers all week about this, or parents in general, and I think it's because of the paper. They're not getting the paper from the doctors to sign them off to say, yes, their child has autism or has whatever that disability is, to get them in the school that they need to get them into.
Yeah.
I just want to make that clear for the listeners, so they're wondering what it's about. Because, and I know we've got obviously a Conservative government here in the UK at the moment and that's what they're doing here. Is it quite different in Ireland than it is in the UK? Do you know?
It is. It can take a long time to get a child diagnosed here under the public health system, which is why we just didn't wait and we did it privately from a stress point of view, just to give ourselves peace of mind to know what we were dealing with. In Ireland, it can take up to 2 years if you're relying on the public health system to get your child diagnosed. And that's a long wait and it's very stressful. But then on top of that, special needs schools are limited and their funding is being cut all the time. And I don't know. And there's all these rules then that, if your child goes to a special needs school, they can avail of occupational therapy and speech therapy services through the public health system. But if they go to a mainstream school, which for a child that's able to attend a mainstream school, it is the best option, you're not allowed to have those services because you're not in a special needs school. There's a lot of loops and coils in our system that can make it quite stressful for a parent and quite expensive, because in the meantime, we have to find the funds to get these services privately for our children.
So what advice would you give to parents who are looking either for, some help about where to go to get these, to get them signed off so they can go to the right school, or just generally getting some help anyway?
I think
because it's support, right?
The first thing any parent should be doing when their child is diagnosed is finding other parents who understand, because that is where all the information is and all the experience is, and there will be somebody who will have fought a particular battle before who will be able to help, or who will have a name of a person in the office who was very helpful on such and such an issue. So definitely finding like-minded people would be the way to go. After that, then, I would recommend people start looking at organisations. In the UK, Irish Autism Action is affiliated with Treehouse in the UK and Families Connected in Manchester. So there are two organisations where people can just make a phone call, get information on local support groups, and that's the place to start, because nobody is on their own. There are so many people out there doing this, and it is very frightening and confusing when you start.
Yes, just going back from that, actually, Jen, we've got a question from Emma in Muswell Hill.
Yeah.
How was the assessment on the spectrum done exactly, and at what age did it become really obvious that your son was different to other children in terms of interaction?
Because he's only 3, isn't he, at the moment?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Pardon?
Is he 3 at the moment? He's 3.
He's 3. He's 3.5 now.
3.5.
Okay, the first part of that question, the assessment, he had a psychological assessment, he had a speech and language assessment, and he had an occupational therapy assessment.
Right.
And each assessment graded him in comparison to what a child his age should be doing.
According to the government guidelines, is it, or?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, well, they'd be looking at under the Diagnostics and Statistics Manual, because that would have all the details. It's called the DSM-4. And but there are specified tests that children do, and you test them for their social skills and their interaction and, imitation skills. Somebody with experience who has a child with autism can spot another child with autism very quickly, because you just know what to look for. And the psychologist and the speech therapist would be the same. They would have that experience. Now, there was another part to that question as well?
Yes, it was at what age did it become really obvious that he was different to other children?
18 months.
18 months.
Yeah.
At 18 months, I had no doubt. At 16 months, I was very nervous and very unsure of what was going on, and I felt there was something going on, but I didn't know what.
Right,
but
right.
By 18 months, there was no doubt in my mind he had autism.
Okay.
So many people, we got many messages through the week, and people saying actually, that they felt really blessed though, because, a lot of people think just because your child is autistic, they seem rather somber about it. Oh, I'm so sorry type of attitude. But actually some people said they're really grateful. They've shown them many things in their lives they wouldn't have necessarily have, noticed and had. Do you feel like that in any way?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And that's what I was going back to what I was saying earlier about that I'm a much more open person, and I see more now, and that is because of my child. And I'm much more relaxed because of that. I'm much more accepting, and I like that change in myself, and it is good for my other children too. Yeah. And my little boy, he's just brilliant, and he's a great sense of humour, and he loves hugs and gets on very well with his siblings. For our whole family, yes, it has caused some extra work and a lot of stress, but we certainly wouldn't be sorry that we had him. Not in a million years.
Good. That's great. That's fantastic, Jen. Thank you. And then just wanted to ask you, are there any particular ways? I'm going to be talking with, particularly with Pamela later on about this, because obviously she has games and books and things around teaching and learning. But are there any particular ways of you learning or teaching which has helped, your son? Or other children with autism that you can shed some light on? Yeah,
we use ABA. It's Applied Behavioural Analysis, and it's used with a lot of special needs children. So there would be teachers specifically trained, and it's all about breaking down each task into very small pieces and taking it step by step. Autism is a different way of learning. So when you find the way it's for the child to learn, they just bloom in front of your eyes. And ABA has been very successful for us. That's fantastic. Well, thank you. And any more kind of like particular advice? We're going to get people, give them your blog names and, the blog and the website and things so people can go. But any other advice that you can give people right now? Because we've got various listeners. Yeah, if anybody was concerned about their child having autism, go and check it out, because, it's not a negative. Once you know that your child has autism, it's like getting a set of directions, and then you know what to do to help your child and to help them progress. So it isn't really something to be scared of. It's not that your child has changed or gone away. It's just a different way of looking at your child and a different way of helping your child, and it opens a door to let them reach their potential.
Great. Well, Jen, thank you so much for coming on, JNet. It's been wonderful to chat to you.
And you too, Emma.
So let's give let's give the listeners some pages to go to. So you've got your private blog, and do you want to tell people what that one is?
That's www.thekingandi.com.
Okay, and the King and I is EYE on I. I just like to
EYE,
.com, and then obviously you've got your Facebook group, and that's which one's that one? Is that Autism?
Jen Irish Autism Action.
Okay, Jen.
And everybody
Irish
would be welcome to join that. I mean, autism doesn't have borders, so we don't either.
Oh,
we have people from all around the world.
That's nice, isn't it?
And it's lovely.
That's really nice, because I know that obviously Pamela's in America and you've connected with her.
That's
so
right, yeah.
absolutely,
that's how I met her.
Did you through Facebook? So Facebook's wonderful. I met lots of fabulous.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's great to hear that it's actually being used for more than I'm having a sandwich. It's great that it's being something so positive and so useful as well.
Fantastic. I tell you what, thank you so much, Jen, and we'll do some more. We'll get those up again on Facebook and Twitter and all that, so people know where to go. Thank you again. It's been wonderful, and hope we get to chat again.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks.
Okay.
Not
God
at
bless
all.
you.
Bye-bye.
All right, sweetheart. Bye. Well, that was good.
That was brilliant.
She was lovely, and I love speaking to people all over the world. It's fantastic.
It's great. That is what is so fantastic also about internet radio. You'll reach us anywhere.
Maravilloso.
60. Sorry.
I'm doing bits of Spanish today. I just thought I'd throw that one in. I'm not going to try and do the